a maximum security prison, and cell phones are absolutely everywhere. It got so bad that the warden in the administration put an APB out to all the staff, giving them a spiff, extra money in cash, $150 for every cell phone that they'd find. So there was an officer, young kid, everybody called him Cell Phone Charlie, because his mission every single day when he came to work, when he came to that prison, was to find a cell phone. He was money hungry. He was trying to get as many phones as he could, and he was knocking them off left and right. Almost every single day, he would find a new phone because they were everywhere. All until one day, his family was threatened. And after that, he stopped looking for cell phones.
Fam, what's going on, man? It's your boy E.I. the King, and this is the Incarceration Podcast. Today is another episode of Prison Tales where I'm talking about Cell Phone Charlie, the officer who was running down on convicts at a maximum security prison trying to find phones so he could get $150 spiff, additional money from administration until his life was threatened. So before we go ahead and check out this video, man, y'all do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to this channel if you haven't, and let's go ahead and listen to some prison tales where Cell Phone Charlie, the correctional officer, was running down on convicts with cell phones to get $150 spiff from administration until his life was threatened.
A maximum security prison. You'd think because it's maximum security that the security would be maximum and there would be no cell phones. Obviously, if you've done any time at any prison throughout the nation, chances are you probably know that's not true at all. A lot of times at max prisons, that's where the phones are the most plentiful. And at this prison, man, there were cell phones everywhere. Little thumb phones, little dumb flip phones, but there was plenty of skateboards, which are smartphones, Androids, iPhones, everywhere. Of course, they cost anywhere from $1,000 to $1,200. It all depends what state, what prison you're at, how plentiful they are. You could even get one of them finger phones for like $250, $300, a little flip for like $500. So phones were everywhere. But during this time, they were so tired, administration was so tired of doing shakedowns and finding phone after phone after phone, because all the convicts know a lot of people with phones, they're not just using phones to contact family and loved ones, though that's why a lot of people want to get a phone or hop on a phone while they're doing time, is to try to FaceTime their children, their family and loved ones. But also you got to remember that prison is full of what? Criminals. And a lot of these criminals have backgrounds in fraud and scamming. So a lot of these guys are doing fraud and scamming on cell phones, or even sadly, some guys are trying to talk to girls or harass people or contact their victims or reach out to underage kids or whatever it may be. But a lot of times as well, the hustlers will use the phones to sell dope vicariously through somebody else on the streets while they're incarcerated, or just use it to get Cash App and Zelle so that way they can hustle in prison and they don't have to deal with soups and chips, zoom zooms and wham whams. They're trying to get real street cash and put it on their Cash App, Zelle. For whatever reason, anybody wants a phone. They're plentiful in prison. I feel like pretty much everybody watching this channel, watching prison content, sees that, understands that, and knows it. So the administration was so upset that there were so many phones everywhere, the warden himself put an APB out to all staff in administration to let all the sergeants, lieutenants, officers know that they were going to give out $150 spiff for every cell phone that a correction officer would find throughout his time working there, whether it was during shakedowns or just his day-to-day interactions with the incarcerated population. They were trying to get rid of the cell phones from the compound. So there was this young kid, man. He was very disrespectful. One of those officers who didn't treat the convicts or the incarcerated population like human beings, like men. He was very young. He was very immature and disrespectful. He had a chip on his shoulder. I mean, not trying to be negative and critical, but he was probably bullied and picked on when he was in middle school, elementary school, high school, who knows? And he was taking it out on people that probably reminded him of the guys who would bully him from his past, whatever the reason may be. He definitely wasn't respectful. He always enforced every single petty rule. He would talk to people crazy. And he was just one of those officers that nobody liked. And he became known as Cell Phone Charlie. And the reason why they called him Cell Phone Charlie is because not only was he already trying to find cell phones just because whenever he was working there trying to do his job, but going above and beyond, trying to find every phone, trying to enforce every rule, trying to pretty much make it miserable to be incarcerated at the prison, because it seemed like he got off on that. But when this new spiff thing came out from administration that the officers would get $150 per phone, he was going crazy. He was finding phones literally every single day. And I have no idea how. He definitely had people dropping kites. You know how it is in prison. People write request forms or kites and put it in the request form box, telling on people left and right. It's a thing in prison. People are snitching all the time. So he was finding phones every single day. But what he failed to realize is that the people who were bringing in these cell phones, who had the routes, who had the people, the staff or people from visitation, whoever it may be that was bringing in the phones, he didn't realize that there was a criminal enterprise that was taking place at that institution. And who was running it and leading it was a specific gang organization. And it wasn't just a prison gang. It was a big gang throughout the entire United States. Specifically at this prison, there were so many members of this specific gang organization that they literally ran the compound. And they also ran the traffic, the import of the cell phones. So this gang, they were so upset, they were so frustrated that this officer, Cell Phone Charlie, he was messing up their hustle. He was blowing up their spot. He would literally knock off phones left and right. But as I said, even though the officer's finding a phone, 2 phones a day, there's still so many phones on the compound. But this officer, Cell Phone Charlie, he is blowing their spot up. He's messing up their money. So they came up with an idea. Somehow they had their contacts on the street find out who this guy is and where he lived. But let me go ahead and fast forward the story a little bit. So one day, Cell Phone Charlie checks the request form box. He's going through it, trying to find kites, and he finds a kite. Hey, there's a phone in the bathroom in such and such dorm. It's at this specific place. Detailed kite. His day was starting off good. A free $150 right there, and he gets that extra chip on his shoulder of making him feel better for finding another phone. So he immediately does his morning routine, doing his walkthroughs, and he makes sure that sometime throughout that day he can break away from his guard post, not even being assigned to that dorm, to go way across the compound to go and find this phone. He goes over there, he finds the phone exactly where the kite said it was. But a lot of administrations and prisons throughout the nation, there's protocol behind finding the cell phones. The first thing they do is they take the SIM card out if there is one, or they'll plug it up to a computer and they try to find all the phone numbers that it called or incoming phone calls. They try to find out the text messages, the pictures, everything that they can to do some type of investigation about whose phone this was. If they didn't find it on a convict, to find out if there's any crimes going on with this phone. They try to do as much research as they can. Not all administrations, but a lot of prisons, that's their normal protocol whenever they find a cell phone. So whenever he began to pull out the SIM card and put it in the computer, there was no text, no incoming or outgoing calls. It was a dummy phone. It was a little flip phone. But there was one picture on this phone, one text message. You want to know what it was? A picture of the front of his house. And there is also a message in that phone under the notes or something like that. Very brief, but also directly to the point. It said, "Stop finding phones or else." So the rumor was on the compound that this specific organization, this specific gang, knew obviously that Cell Phone Charlie was knocking off all the phones. They had their contact from the outside, find where he lived, take a picture of his front door of his house as a threat to him, so he would stop finding phones. And they got this phone to receive this picture, and they specifically wrote a kite themselves so he would find it, so that he would get the message. And he did. From that day forward, Cell Phone Charlie wasn't Cell Phone Charlie anymore. He stopped looking for phones. And I guess he took that threat serious. And I could even notice his interactions with the incarcerated population after that, because it was a rumor throughout the institution and people knew about it and people were laughing and kikiing about it. And you could tell that he was a lot more laid back. He was a lot more reserved. He wasn't as strict. He wasn't as rude and disrespectful as he was previously. And he stopped looking for the phones. And just to clarify, by no means do I condone violence. By no means do I condone threats against correctional officers or anything like that. My whole intent and purpose of this channel is to share the full, authentic experience of what it's like being incarcerated. The crazy, the chaotic, the violence, the extortion, the threats, but also the transformative, the redemptive, the good, the rehabilitation. Because if you don't know my story, throughout 12 years of incarceration is where I encountered Jesus Christ for real, and he radically transformed my life, renewed and transformed my mind, and God began to reveal the purpose that he had upon my life. That's to know Christ and to make him known through the proclamation of the gospel. But this story today was about Cell Phone Charlie. Even though he was just trying to get those spiffs, the extra $150 for however many phones he could find, or even if it was an achievement of his correctional officer career, trying to find as many phones as he could, he didn't realize that sometimes in these prisons, there's real criminal enterprises going on. And it's not just attached to the prison itself. It runs deep, even to the streets, to the cities, to the states. And that story right there blew my mind. Myself, I've always been a neutron. I was never gang affiliated. I was a lone wolf throughout all 12 years of my incarceration. But whenever I heard that, it continued to open up my eyes and realize that, dang, some of these gangs, they move strategically and seriously for real. And again, bro, there's nothing cool about prison at all. I'm not here to glorify it. I'm just here to share my experiences and my stories. Being separated from our children and our families and our loved ones one day is one day too long. But I'm also here to remind all the convicts watching or anybody who has a loved one incarcerated that despite our past, despite all the terrible decisions that we could have made in our past, our story's not over. At my lowest point in life, on my third prison bid, by the time I was 23 in prison, my third time, is when I was at my lowest place in life, shattered and broken. When I felt like there was no more hope, I was institutionalized. I thought this was all I was gonna ever know, not only through 3 adult prison bids, but juvenile programs, juvenile detentions. I had no self-esteem. I had no hope in myself or in my future. At my lowest point in life is where God met me and radically transformed my life. So I'm just encouraging you viewers today, all the convicts watching, anybody who feels like their past is hanging over their head and is a curse, or anybody watching who has loved ones incarcerated, your story, their story, is not over. It's never too late for Jesus to radically transform our lives.
All right, family, it's your boy E.I. the King, and this is the Incarceration Podcast. And family, let me know, how do you like Prison Tales so far? Should I continue these type of episodes? Should I continue this series of Prison Tales or nah? Y'all let me know how you feel about it in the comments. If you do enjoy it, please do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that hype button. And family, I got a fire HBO style series in the full episode playlist. It's a chronological journey of my 12 years in prison. It's called The Incarceration. Season 1 has been out, but Season 2 is just not coming out. But to access it, you have to become an all-access member to this channel, and this is a preview clip of Season 2 right here. All you hear in the cells when people are fighting is just lockers moving, bunks getting hit. You hear the fists, you know what I mean, hitting faces or being blocked, and people wrestling and people getting slammed, and it just sounds like a freaking war going on in the cell because it's such a small confined space, and you just hear it time and time again. Not just that first day in the dungeon, but every day, all day. About 102 people, I believe, in K3 in the dungeon. I would say probably about 90 people gangbang is affiliated. Everybody in a different set, and all day, every day, fighting, nonstop. And a lot of times, it's not one-on-one. It's a lot of people getting jumped, a lot of 2-on-2s or 3s-on-5s, all day, every day, no exaggeration. When the police see the fighting, majority of the time, they won't even break it up, won't even look, won't even lock down the dorm, just put a blind eye to it and keep on going. Non-stop chaos all day, every day. No exaggeration. Nothing but yelling, fighting, and occasionally stabbings. One thing I began to realize as well at JIT camp is that people had knives for sure, but they call them fence pokers. Little wire that people unravel off the fence posts, they sharpen it up on the floor, and it becomes a knife. Yeah. And also, if you didn't know, man, I am a rapper. My artist name is EI the King. You can find my music wherever you listen to your music at. Go to my artist YouTube channel, EI the King, to check out my music videos. Follow me on Instagram, EI the King, TikTok, EI the King Official, and family. I got 3 other YouTube channels. My official artist channel, EI the King. Go check out my music videos. Real Crime Stories Unlocked, and my newest channel, Low Budget Traveling, where I'm sharing with you, all fellow convicts and everyday average American, that it is possible for you and I to travel abroad internationally on a low budget. All the links are going to be at the end of this video. Go ahead and click those links. It's going to take you to my new channels. Subscribe, follow, check out the content. Is fire. And family, we're on the journey to 100,000 subs. Right now we're at 60K. I appreciate all the day one viewers and day one subscribers. If you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and do so now. Y'all do me a favor, go ahead and like this video. And for all the convicts watching, if you done time in a county jail, state prison, federal prison, you want to share your incarcerated experiences, email me at eithekingbooking@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram at eitheking_. As I interview you, I'll post your interview up on this channel. If you got a YouTube channel, social media, whatever you want to promote, I'd like to promote it throughout the interview. And y'all stay tapped in for more fire content to continue to come your way. It's your boy EI the King, and I'm out. Peace.